Well, thank you, and welcome everybody to our Design Review Board meeting. Today is Monday, July 18th. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Not seeing any. Can I have someone approve our agenda? Moved.
Could I just add something, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Could fall under introduction of new business. I just want to get an update on the design for the Fitzroy Parkade on Kent Street.
Okay.
I know that we awarded the tender. I just don't know if Alex has any background on it, but
We'll talk about that then. We can
Thank you.
add that if
Thank
everyone's
you.
okay, really, for an update.
yeah.
Can I have someone adopt our minutes from March 17th? Move, seconded by Chris Fournier. Are there any businesses that are arising from those minutes? I'm not seeing any. We'll move right into reports, which is 295 Kent Street, a request to review the design for a two-story addition to the sofa garage. The addition is to house a small office and provide a practice room for Holland College School of Performing Arts. The property is currently zoned institutional, and it's located in the 500 lot area, and we will listen to Alex.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as you noted, this is an application by Holland College. I would note this is hopefully not a complicated application, but we do have two representatives from Holland College here that by all means I would take advantage of if you have any additional questions from me, and that's Justin Dunn and John Barrett are here just outside. So after my presentation, if you would like clarification, they're here, and they've been very good partners to work with on this. So again, as you noted, this is a two-story addition to the SOPA Garage School of Performing Arts to accommodate office space and a practice room to be constructed at 295 Kent Street. Under the section of the zoning bylaw dealing with design review in the 500 lot area, the size of this constitutes that a review be undertaken. The rationale is that the architectural design of proposed development within the 500 lot maintains a high quality of design, is constructed with a consistent type and quality of materials, and from a design perspective, it is important to ensure the addition to the existing building reflects the fact that the addition is a product of its own time, which complements and is compatible with the existing buildings in the surrounding area. So on July 11th, this was sent out to one of our design reviewers, Robert Matthews, reviewed this project. Robert responded, got back to staff. His comments are fairly small, so that's indicative of usually have a strong project, but he indicates, please ensure that the trim around the doors and windows is of a similar scale and proportion of the trim on the adjacent buildings as visible in the photos that were submitted. I'm not sure if the design intent of the entrance door and side light, but would suggest something either complementary to the garage style or something complementary to the type of entrance on the neighboring heritage building. Roof shingles to be complementary to the neighboring buildings, and choose, he's suggesting, a heritage red. Overall, the design reviewer indicated that the proposal was generally acceptable and compatible with the guiding principles as outlined in the 500 lot area development standards. So staff suggests the proposal aligns well with the adjoining buildings along the streetscape and is sensitive in terms of infill development. And overall, the application has met the intent of the zoning and development bylaw, the 10 guiding principles. And as a result, staff are prepared to support the application. And as I mentioned, Madam Chair, the applicants are here. You may wish to ask them in regard to their responsiveness in regard to responding to the request from the design reviewer.
See if there's any questions from anyone in the room at this time.
Yeah, Madam Chair, could Alex, it's two-story. It will be used for students and I'm sure performing artists. We've heard a lot about accessibility. What's the, and again, I don't see the interior plans, accessibility for students that have mobility issues? Do we?
You may wish to elaborate. Justin Dunn is here, and
Okay.
he's the engineer that oversees all of their projects.
Okay.
It's my understanding, and you may just get some clarification. Even though this is a large building, they're implying that it's not going to be a heavily used building, but the National Building Code pertains to accessibility, regardless of they don't have any choice. We would make sure that it meets a minimum standard, but property owners can always exceed that. But you may wish to get that clarified by them.
So, Alex, from your corporate knowledge, what's the minimum standard for accessibility? And
Again, the building code is so,
Okay.
got so many
Thank you.
layers in it, I tend to defer that to them.
Maybe what we can do is just invite Justin in for a moment so he can answer the question that the mayor has, and if there's any other questions.
That's all of you. So maybe Justin, they just have a couple of questions about the building and maybe you could just answer.
Hi, welcome. I think, thank you for joining us. I think that his worship had a question just about accessibility in the building, if that was part of the plan, so.
Okay, yes, yeah. And I might pass it right over to Shallon, actually, right at the gate here, so, but excellent, thank you.
Yeah, so we'd have accessibility on the ground floor, but not, there's no elevator or anything planned for this, so the upper floor would not be accessible.
So, Madam Chair, so Shaylin, does that meet the minimum requirements of the National Building Code?
Yes,
It
it does.
does.
Yeah, there's no requirement at this building height to have the elevator. So we'll try to accommodate whatever we can on the ground floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just on the east wall that would be facing onto Cumberland Street of this proposed building, would that east wall face onto Cumberland? I think it does. Because it'll fall in behind the home that is presently Collège de Lille.
Yep.
So what the side of the building will face onto Cumberland Street? And I didn't see, are there windows and is there a doorway? Is there?
Yes, there's
Okay,
windows.
see it now.
Yeah, that is the elevation there. Just 4 windows, yeah. There's no entrance on that side.
Use your mic.
Do you remember off the top of your head the size of it?
I was just wondering how big the footprint is.
About 1,000 square feet.
Okay. Well, I personally think it's great, you know, and in character, and I still like the little building there. And are you taking, not that it matters, the red from the building, that same color? And so it just looks like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of just matching that garage next that it's
Yeah.
attached to. Yeah, and just trying to keep the same style as the house that's already on the property.
Yeah, the yellow one, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was freshened up a while ago. It looks really nice. If you check Google Maps and see what it used to look like, you'll see a great improvement there.
I think it's wonderful, personally.
Thank you. Is there any other questions for either the applicants or for Alex? Alex has a question for someone.
Yeah, I just, this is Laurel's file, and she's been dealing with you and dealing with, the applicant and the reviewer, but just in regard to the designer's comments, you received them, you're generally those are acceptable to you to make those small changes?
Yes, definitely, Alex. Most of these are sort of already incorporated. So some of the comments was choose a heritage red paint. So we're kind of already in that vein. And we were planning to match the roof shingles to the original building. So that comment's already incorporated. We'll make sure the trims around the doors and windows are similar to the house on the property. And yeah, I appreciate the comment about the entrance door. We'll try to pick something that's wood that matches the style of this more. We are showing something a little more contemporary in these renderings, so we'll make sure that that is changed to match these comments.
Thanks for clarifying.
I guess now we just need, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Additional, just to build on the point back to accessibility there. So in this project, in the portion that's being considered here today, there would be duplication of services in the existing portion. So all services would be able to deliver to our students. There is 3 offices upstairs, but of course there's a number of meeting spaces across our Prince of Wales campus, just to use the strengths of our campus, so that all of our students' accessibility is obviously of paramount importance to us, and so anything that would be offered is certainly available on the first floor. The only thing, honestly, I would think of is a meeting with an instructor, but of course that would take place in a number of locations on our Prince of Wales campus, as we do in even our Montgomery Hall building. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, again, the reason I bring it up, it's a top of the agenda for all municipalities, provincial governments, federal governments, to ensure that we have as much or total 100% accessibility. And, you know, if down the road, if it looks as though this facility, it begins to get a much more use, I'm sure that there would be potential to add a lift in the facility. Again, it's really about providing that, and I know there are minimum standards, as Mr. Forbes mentioned, in the National Building Code, but sometimes we have to go above those minimum standards. Thank you.
And I think that would also just match our own strategic plan for the need and importance of accessibility throughout our campus as well. So, point well taken. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, what's the second egress? Where is that located on the building?
Do you have the plan? There's only, so because of the small footprint of this building, we actually only need one exit from the second floor. So there is only one stair that goes down. We don't require the second one. But in terms of doors on the main floor, the main entrance is through that little connection between the two buildings. I just wanted to see if is there a second door at the back there?
There is a plan in our package.
So just the one? Yeah. So yeah, it's just the one door there. In terms of National Building Code, if you're on the ground floor, you can exit out any of the windows that are there, so you wouldn't technically need another door there. I think at one point we did have one. That's why I'm just questioning it, because I think that we changed a few things since then, but I believe it's just that one door through the breezeway.
The entrance there, did you say that's going to be wood? Like that's going to be dressed up a little more?
Yeah, so the yellow building on this site has a wood door, and those overhead doors into the garage are wood. So I think we'll try to match a nice wood door there with some glass in it to get more in that style.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so I guess now we will need a motion to send this to council. So
I'll move.
basically, I just want to explain, so this is a recommending body. This will go to council for final approval. And you're moving,
I'll move,
moved by
please.
Ken. Oh, one moment.
Just one point, just a point of clarification. This committee, we're looking at the overall design, and I know we had some discussions around accessibility, but correct me if I'm wrong, that's not part of the terms of reference of this committee, is that correct?
That would be correct in my understanding, that would be something planning would maybe look at, but not design review. Is that correct, Alex?
That is correct. I mean, we just have to go with the bylaws that we have in place and the tools that we have in place. So I would say that is correct. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Yankow.
Just to elaborate on Alex's, this will also go to building permit, and all the code issues will get reviewed there. So that anything that didn't meet code would get caught in that review process. So that'll be covered there under accessibility.
And Madam Chair, could I also state that accessibility is in all terms of references. It may not be clearly written, but we have to ensure that buildings, anything that we provide as public infrastructure, has accessible use for all. Thank you.
Alex, you can respond to that. I would hope that would be, but Alex, do you have something further?
Yeah, I think, I think what the mayor is alluding to is, that there is an advocacy campaign to ensure that accessibility, to his point, is front and center. Accessibility is both in sidewalk infrastructure. There's a million avenues for it. But again, unless we have a policy or some kind of a standard, we have to just stick with what the building code requires. Just as a point of clarification, this doesn't have to go to council as long as the committee,
Oh,
is in agreement with the staff report. So it just goes to council if there's a disagreement between staff and in this body. So just a point of clarification. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, even better. So we have a motion to approve this by Kenny. Do I have someone that will second that? Sharon will second that. All in favor of moving this ahead? Thank you. And thank you very much, and good luck with your project. Thank you for the clarification, Alex, on that. I forget what committees jump to where. The mayor had asked to have an update on the facade of the parking garage on Kent Street. So you can proceed with your question.
And the reason I bring that up, Madam Chair, as you know, that it did go to tender, and I think the tender, we had one tender from Williams Murphy McLeod at about $500,000. Alex, my understanding when I looked at the renderings from the design review architect, I was assuming that all the materials would be either concrete or steel. But over the weekend, I heard that they're going to be using cedar to place some of these panels, the colored panels. Is that true?
Your worship, I'm going to rely on my memory, which is always gets me into trouble. I think there is wood paneling in it, but I will look into the file as to what was fine. It went to design review
Yeah.
multiple times, and I must admit, because it's been there multiple times, but it was my recollection that it did end up with some wooden, panels on the front of it, and I think there's a hybrid of materials on there. So, but I'll pull that out and I'll get you the current, requirement on that.
And Madam Chair, as you know, we've been at Council and Public Works, we've been debating this for the last couple of years. Finally, we went to tender. We will be starting the work. So that's the good news about this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I guess that is it for our agenda today. What I will need is someone for a motion to adjourn. We have a one and a seconder. All those in favor of adjournment? Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for your time today.
And a cooler.